Well, you nailed it. Couldn't have done better.
I love this dish every single time. Every single time. So good. Tell me what you think about cottage cheese instead of the ricotta.
I'm about to. It's a little warm. I don't want to burn my mouth. You told me when you sent me the recipe and you're like, cottage cheese. I'm like, I had not heard of doing that instead. So this actually, just the start of this dish is looking really, really good. Tell me what I need to do.
This is my
What do I even have here?
all-time favorite. Mozzarella cheese, Parmesan, garlic, oregano, and basil.
So you use fresh oregano. That's something I haven't tried yet. I've always just used dried.
I am not a chef like you, but I love to doctor up things to make them a little bit more
Well, I'm
homemade.
not a chef either, but I love learning new things, and I love this.
add these to my spaghetti sauce so it tastes more homemade.
Okay, well, lasagna is another one of the meals
I love it.
that my mom truly did rely on, even though us kids were often a little bit too picky
Very
to
much
enjoy
so.
it. So it was interesting to me when everybody started talking about Michael's lasagna. I'm like, she did not make that when I was growing up.
I did not love it growing up like I do now.
But I tried it, and I'm like, okay, I have to get Michael to come teach me that recipe. And you were like, it's so easy. I'm like, well, if it's so easy, we've got to share it with the world. We can't just keep this hidden.
This is my favorite recipe whenever I'm taking somebody that had a baby a meal, because you can use the oven-ready pasta, and they can cook it at their own convenience. So you put it in the oven,
which means I also can freeze it. I can make this ahead on Saturday, freeze it, and pull it out and cook this next week, next month.
Anytime. If you know you have a busy schedule, you make it ahead and you just cook it when you're ready.
I love this. I love this. Well, how much of this cheese you need shredded?
I need 3 cups of that.
3 cups of
and
this?
And I need 1 cup of the Parmesan.
It will cut you sharp. Be careful.
I was also bad at that.
I remember you getting burned the most.
Fall down the stairs.
Poor kid. I remember when we had the garden all the way back at Rolling Road, and I was talking to, I think it was either Jackson or Warden about it, and he's like, I don't remember that. And even Carlin,
the kids have a whole different childhood.
Yeah, even Carlin was like, I don't remember that. I'm like, well, come to think of it, you weren't there. You were 2 houses later.
We got so much out of the garden. I remember shelling peas with Mom and canning and making homemade pear sauce and applesauce.
Canning our own green beans.
Yep. Freezing corn and talking with Josie and Katie and Carlin. None of them really remember that phase of our life. Do you remember our crabapple tree?
I do, and Mom would make crabapple jelly. I actually have a crabapple tree here.
No.
Yes.
You've got to make
I said the next year,
jelly.
I need to prune it. It's really in bad condition, but I thought I do need to get some crab apples one year and see if I can get Mom to do that recipe for crabapple jelly, because it was there's nothing else like it if you haven't had it before.
It's tart and
It's tart and sweet.
Sweet.
It's the perfect blend of tart and sweet.
It's almost like a marmalade, I feel like.
Or
a little bit like a marmalade.
Almost like you'd expect a cranberry jelly or something, but a little bit more tart. And it's got different notes than
that was
cranberry
a favorite.
would.
And I loved the applesauce and the pear sauce.
I remember biting my first crab apple.
Turn your mouth.
You don't eat those twice. The mulberries tree. We had the big mulberry tree over the back too.
I remember that too.
I have not had a mulberry since I was a kid.
I have bought dried mulberries multiple times trying to relive childhood.
They're not as good dried.
I've tried them chocolate covered and dried, and they're just not as good. Do you chop your garlic or do you press your garlic?
Well,
I'll use your press.
Congratulations. I have 2 presses.
Is it my lucky day?
It's your lucky day. This one does both. It does pressing, and it also slices it into if you just want it sliced. So this is a 2-for-1. You can take this home with you.
Thank you very much.
So you season your meat. You're saying half is for the sauce and half is for the meat with each of these herbs you're doing.
I do a red sauce, and then I mix my cottage cheese and my white sauce.
Okay.
So I split my herbs evenly.
In both of the sauces. Okay. Well, I can't wait to try this.
Flavorful.
This is already sounding so good.
I
never use any of the pre-grated for parm. I'm telling you, if you
start
grading the blocks, it's so much. It's one of the little things that you can do that really does improve the quality of what you're cooking.
Yes.
Fresh cheeses. It's like the fresh garlic versus
the fresh herbs. It does make a world of difference.
I can't wait to try the fresh oregano in the next spaghetti or bolognese I make.
Using fresh herbs. I grow a lot in my backyard. Obviously, they're not growing right now, but
yeah, I killed my basil plants.
Did you?
In the cold. Yeah,
I grow
forgot
rosemary and cilantro. I make a lot of fresh salsa.
I'm a horrible plant dad.
I love fresh herbs. I make a lot of whole chickens just because they're quick and easy, and I stuff them with fresh herbs. That's plenty. Only need a cup.
I love it. We're trying all of the tricks that you guys have told us. This onion just came out of the freezer. We get tons of tips, and so far, The best one has been cooling it, but I'm going to use also, they said put a wet rag by the onion because that'll help pull up some of the things to keep you from crying. Okay. Now, I am just learning, I've learned a lot from people commenting about cooking an onion, and I cooked with a guy who actually is a real chef, unlike the people in my family, me. And he showed me kind of how to cut an onion for mincing it, if you're mincing an onion.
Yeah, teach me this.
That is a lot quicker, and it actually looks cool. I can't do it fast like he did it. Now I just kind of skin it right here so that I can peel off that layer a little easier. I found it comes off in quarters better than it does in halves.
Okay.
And I'll cut off this end, boom. So you leave the back end on.
Okay.
And you kind of get it with a C, and you just come in and dice it this way.
Really?
Okay, so you cut it in half first. You can do it like this as well. I found like if I put my knife here and then come down, you don't want to cut all the way through.
Like a bloomin' onion.
Like, yeah, similar to that.
Okay.
And then you don't want to cut through and cut your hand that way.
Okay.
So you cut it through that way. A lot of times they'll just cut like once or twice. And then you come down from here and you just, as big as you want your dice to be.
Okay.
And you don't cut all the way through.
Okay.
Yeah. And you just come close to the back.
And you left that bottom part on to hold.
To hold it. And then you just kind of grip it like you would normally cutting, and you just...
Brilliant.
I'm such a dummy. Grab me an onion. Didn't need the scraper, use my hand.
Oh.
So what do we need to do with these?
Just cut the little brown out and then press them.
Press them? Okay.
Yep, and we'll put them right on top of the onion.
Cut the little brown out.
All get sauteed a little bit together.
Okay.
And then we're ready to move to the stove.
Is this another half with the meat, half with the...
Nope, this is all with the meat. How nice. A lifesaver.
I tried it and I was like, I like that actually.
I like that.
Just scrape it off with my knife to get all the good stuff, and there you go.
Okey-doke. So our cheese is shredded. We have all of our veggies and our herbs chopped, and we'll saute our meat with this to give it some flavor.
Let's make some lasagna.
Okay. So to start with, I just put a little butter in and then mix in garlic and onion, saute it to where they're just, what do you call it? Translucent.
So I know you cook with a lot of cast iron, and it's non-stick and still healthy. I love stainless steel as well. Our cast iron is cooking that cobbler that you and the kids cooked for another episode. So we're going to use our stainless steel, and one of the big things about keeping it non-stick is making sure the pan is properly preheated. An easy way to test that is just a little bit of water, and it should bead up in the middle. See how it just beads and dances around like that?
I am going to do that.
It off the pan. And that's how you know if it steams, it's not ready yet. Pan down.
I do a tablespoon of butter and then I just brown it really quick and then saute it. See, I'm not good with technique or anything like that. I just...
There you go. I learned from necessity.
And then this just simmers with the meat, so we can add it in if you're good.
Yeah, I can smell that garlic for sure.
I do a pound of beef and a pound of sausage.
Okay.
And it gives the lasagna such amazing flavor. This one's turkey sausage, but I've also done it with hot sausage. It gives it a whole nother flavor. Most recipes call for just a pound of beef, but I like to have more protein, so we do a pound of beef and a pound of sausage.
And you just blend them together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'm not a measurer. I just...
If you do, then you just would... Now it's kosher, so it's a little lower salinity.
Okay.
So you'll want to do a little more than you would normally use. Somebody told me to try Redmond real salt, so I'm waiting on my Redmond real salt to come in. I ordered me some.
This one's the same.
Same way.
Okay.
And then it's pretty fine right now. If you want to make it a little coarser, you can just... And it comes out pretty good.
I turn this to super low.
I'm coming back over with your red sauce.
Okay. Red sauce, this one and Rayo are my two favorites.
Okay.
The Classico and the Rayo. But sometimes I just get whatever's budget friendly.
Okay. Don't toss it yet, she says.
Yeah. No, I pour a little bit of whipping cream in it. Do about a quarter of a cup, and then I just shake it and pour it in.
Like you do with a vodka sauce.
I don't know. I've never made that.
Ah, this is going to be good.
And then the fresh herbs, and it'll just simmer.
Right there.
The fresh ones.
Oh, that's your dried ones?
Yep. So dried ones here.
Okay.
And then
there's your fresh oregano and your fresh basil.
Half.
Backwards, that's your basil actually, sorry.
Yeah, they're all the same. So after it's all mixed together, I just leave it to simmer while we mix our white sauce.
So what are we doing here? I noticed you're using cottage cheese instead of ricotta.
I personally don't care for ricotta.
Okay.
So I use cottage cheese, but if you want ricotta, you can use it.
I'm fine to try. I want to try this
recipe. I love the way that it melts.
Okay.
So just 32 ounces of cottage cheese, and then the rest of our spices, herbs, I guess rather. A little bit of red pepper and Italian seasoning. About a cup of Parmesan, and then 2 eggs.
You don't even taste it. You just throw it in there.
Just throw it in there.
You've done got this down.
That's it. You're good right about there.
A little extra Parmesan never hurt anybody.
Just mix it up well, and then we're ready to layer it.
That is so simple. So do you layer? I'm interested. I have never made a lasagna. I've made penne lasagnas. You know, basically layering the penne noodles in there.
Pretty much the same thing. This is the easiest. I love it because it's a...
Until I tried yours, I never really liked lasagna. From growing up as a kid, I just never loved lasagna.
Well, thank you. I feel honored.
So you've got oven-ready lasagna.
Oven ready. So this is different. If you want to use normal, you just boil your pasta beforehand and layer it. This makes it easy to freeze or to take to somebody. They cook it at their own time. So we'll layer it.
So this is how you make it freezable.
This is how I make it freezable. Yep, just
I'll
plain
have to try
oven ready.
this.
And then we'll have to get our red sauce.
Now, does it cook any differently if I was using the boiled lasagna noodles?
If you're doing the boiled, then you only need to cook it about 20 minutes just to melt the cheese and absorb flavor.
So if I'm in a hurry, I would use the boiled noodles. If I'm making ahead, I'll use the oven ready.
Oven ready.
See, it's the little tricks that make all the difference.
So quick.
So, got my red sauce from the oven, and you're telling me to put a little sauce.
Not too much meat, just so it doesn't stick.
Okay.
And it can absorb.
So let me get you a spoon to spread. Actually, where's the wooden spoon? This is actually great. Oh,
I put it in the sink. Yeah, I just spread it like this with the bottom.
Okay.
And if you like more vegetables, you can saute 4 or 5 cups of spinach.
Some bell peppers in there.
Put it right in your...
In the white.
In the white sauce.
Okay.
I've done it with spinach and I really like it.
Okay.
But some people don't like greens. I didn't know how your kids would feel about that.
My kids, I have tried to just introduce them. If they don't love it, I'm fine with them not eating it, but I also try to get them at least try it. Okay, so we layer our white.
You can put both white and red. I think the flavor is better when you do white and then more pasta and then red.
Okay.
So I do one at a time.
So you're just keeping it really thin too.
Yep,
you're not over.
Really thin. Just where it's all covered, and then you come in with your next layer.
And I'm just going to kind of show, just to get an idea, I'll show the camera here, just kind of how thin that is when we start. Go ahead and stack a couple of those noodles on here.
Okay.
If you just see, that's just barely, lots of air gap there, not super tight.
I've been told not to break it.
See, if I had read a recipe, then I would have felt that I had to get a perfectly even 1/4 inch layer all the way down.
The great thing with the white is it just melts in, and so everything absorbs. You add the water to fill it. I like a lot of red sauce, and like I told you, I double the meat because I like...
Get that protein.
I like extra protein. So I go a little heavier on my red sauce.
Okay.
That's a personal preference, but it's still, I mean, if you want to show, it's still pretty thin.
Yeah. And I will show that again. Go ahead and start stacking them noodles, and they'll just see kind of the gap. And you're kind of alternating. I see where that gap is over there. You just kind of trade how you layer
pasta. I usually do between 9 and 14 pieces of pasta, depending on the size of my pan. So this one will be closer to 14 because it's a little bit deeper.
I love deeper.
I'll grab one more.
I'll grab you one more.
Pasta, and then that's our last.
This is a job that even I can do. Open the pasta boxes.
You're the real chef here. I'm just doing easy.
You're doing exactly what I do, cooking what you love to cook.
Oh, I love to cook. One day I'm going to be a baker, but I love to cook.
See, I love baking, and I actually didn't really get into baking until, honestly, last year. I did some pies. I always made bread, because, I mean, we grew up making homemade bread.
Yes.
And that I love, there's nothing like fresh ground red wheat and a good hard red wheat loaf of bread with some good honey butter. But I have pies, pie crusts.
Baking. I need to learn that. On my
muffins.
top layer, I put just a little bit. Oh, I need your muffin recipe. I put just a little in the center.
Yeah.
So it melts good, and then we add our mozzarella cheese to cover it.
I have a little leftover Parmesan. Should we just throw that on there?
Sure, go for it.
I mean, everything with more cheese is better. Oh, this is looking so good. And I could literally just put foil over this or saran wrap.
And put it in the freezer.
Put it in the freezer, and it would be...
The most important thing is when you go to cook it, because it's oven-ready pasta, you pour 1/2 cup of water over top of it.
Okay.
That's where your noodles get it.
So if I've refrigerated this, I pour the cup of water. Do I have to pour water on it now anyways?
If we're going to cook it right now, we go ahead and put the water on it. It's ready to go in the oven.
We're going to cook it right now. I'm hungry. What am I going to eat?
Put it in the oven.
Okay.
Where's your measuring cup? So if your pasta's already boiled and ready, then you don't add the water. But if it's the oven ready, you just pour it right over the top and stick it in the oven.
On what temperature?
I do 350 for an hour, or if I'm kind of in a hurry, then I'll do 375 for about 40 minutes.
Kind of in a hurry.
Okay, let's do it.
375 for 40 minutes. Here we go. Oh, this looks every bit as good as the one you made last time.
Oh, I love this recipe.
I can see why. I mean, honestly, I would take that to anybody and be proud of it. We'll sprinkle a little bit of your oregano over the top here.
Fresh herbs always make it better.
Add just a little bit of savory.
Yes.
The little base would smell great on top of here too. Get a little bit of that sprinkled, and then we'll sprinkle a little Parmesan. Oh yeah. And that is lasagna for the ages there.
It's a quick one anyways.
All right, I have been waiting for this. I've been smelling it cook.
I hope you like it.
I know I love it. I've already tasted it.
Oh, I love this one. I also like this one because I feel like even kids like it.
My kids love it. That's how I got introduced to it, because my kids were like, we ate Michael's spaghetti. It was so good. All right, I have been waiting for this. I've been smelling it cook.
I hope you like it.
I know I love it. I've already tasted it.
Oh, for pasta's left over, I freeze it.
And this isn't the most beautiful plating meal that you'll eat, but it tastes so good.
Still hot.
I had not heard until you told me, when you sent me the recipe and you're like, cottage cheese, I'm like, I had not heard of doing that instead. So I'm going to try this.
Every time. Tell me what you think about cottage cheese instead of the ricotta.
I'm about to. It's a little warm. I don't want to burn my mouth.
I don't love ricotta. I'm not sure why. This has been a good substitute. It's got a good flavor, doesn't it?
So good. I can taste those herbs you've added to it. You picked a good sauce. I do like the sauce you picked. The cheese, you can't go wrong with mozzarella and Parmesan as your blend.
If I use your homemade sauce recipe.
And I'm surprised the oven-ready lasagna noodles actually are perfectly cooked. If I had boiled the lasagna noodles to make myself, they wouldn't have been any better.
It's simple, isn't it?
I love this. It's so simple. It's so easy.
Freeze ahead. You like my extra protein?
I do like the extra
like
protein.
The
anything with extra meat, I'm in for.
The sausage gives it a unique twist, a little spicier.
I might sprinkle a little red pepper on mine to get that heat, but the kids wouldn't dare do that. Well, I'll be honest, guys. Lasagna.
You have a lasagna on your face.
Thank you, sis. Somebody's watching out for me. There you have it, guys. Lasagna, so simple, so fast, so tasty, and so easy that even I can do it.